So this is the pre-show, everybody. If you those who might log in a little early, the show starts at 11 o'clock tonight. And I'm just getting on here a little early. Tonight, we're only doing a 1 hour show. Tonight is an impromptu show. Wasn't planned. Um, we just wanted to get on the air and talk a little sports tonight as things looks like they're about to. 7 minutes until showtime. Baseball season, basketball season, football season is still technically on pace to get started on time as far as we can tell. But again, we haven't had no regular sports in a while. And as we were a weekly show, it was not enough to try to schedule a weekly show per our format. 2 hour shows are not easy to put together by far, and definitely not doing them week to week. So decided to go ahead and get on the air tonight, though, because there's so much stuff that it's sports related, but it's not active sports related. Just things being talked about, players wise, teams wise, things of that nature. So we're going to bring some of those up, primarily with the Hawks and the Falcons. So again, just getting ready to get on the air, and hopefully those who do tune in tonight will participate. Remember, call in 646-652-4479 is the number. Of course, if you're not following for whatever reason on Facebook and Instagram, there's the IMTM Worldwide Radio page that you can follow. There's a Twitter page, IMTM Radio. Of course, if you're watching this, it might mean you subscribe, but if not, subscribe to this YouTube channel for all around the ATL shows. We also can be heard on iHeartRadio, radio.com, Spotify, Spreaker, Alexa, Google Play Music, iTunes, all kind of different formats as far as around the ATL. So if you want to talk and listen about Atlanta sports, Georgia sports, please do so. Participate, share it, and hopefully you will enjoy. We haven't done a show in a while. It's been almost a month, actually. Our last guest was Jamila Johnson, a sports journalist who covers the Atlanta Hawks and the Atlanta Dream basketball team, was our last guest. We do have in the works some new guests. One of them is a representative from the Atlanta Dream. Can't tell you who it is just yet. We do have, hopefully in the works, we've been talking, a particular player from the Atlanta Hawks. So hopefully you don't miss that show when it happens. That'll be a shame. And of course, at the very beginning of this NBA season, we had Dominique Wilkins, the legend, the Hall of Famer, human highlight film. We had about 4 minutes before the show starts. I kind of got on here a little earlier than I thought I would. But anyway, I'm just giving y'all a little behind the scenes here as I get ready to start the show. Now, tonight, we're only going to do an hour. My schedule has been kind of terrible as of late. Between my regular job and other things that I'm doing. So tonight is we're just talking sports, no segments, we're just talking whatever comes to mind. Hopefully we get some callers. Hopefully we get people who are not shy and not scared to call into a live radio show. We'll see. We'll see tonight. We have some regular callers, but we would love to get more people listening to the show, calling into the show, especially Braves fans. We don't have anybody ever calling about the Braves. I don't know why. It's kind of strange to me. We have some really good players on the Braves. We have some very good Braves teams. And at worst, you got people who've been Braves fans forever. You know, we could talk old Braves baseball, but we have a team that technically could probably win the World Series. We would love to talk about that. So hopefully you'll call in and join us. We can talk Atlanta United. We haven't talked a lot of Atlanta United in a while now. Their season didn't get started either, as did others. So we talk all Atlanta sports, by the way, Atlanta Dream, United, as I just mentioned, Braves, Falcons, Hawks, of course. We talk college sports as well, seasonally. So if it's college football season, we're talking football, basketball. We're not really talking college baseball just yet, just saying. But and all the teams in the state. So whether it be Albany State or Georgia State or Kennesaw State or UGA or Georgia Tech, Clark Atlanta, Savannah State, we talk about all those teams yearly. So if you are an alumni or you're currently going to one of those schools, hey, call in, talk about your college. We would love to talk more college sports on a regular basis. We've had broadcasters and writers from particular teams call in, one from UGA about a year ago, I think that was. Broadcasters wise, we've had both Bob Rathbun and Steve Holman from the Atlanta Hawks on the show. We've had Angel McCautry on the show. We've had Nikki Collins, WNBA head coach of the Atlanta Dream. We've had her on the show before. So we've had a lot of great guests. We've had the parents of John Collins on the show, Lyria Collins. We've had the parent of Torian Prince, former Hawk, Anthony Prince on the show. So we've had a bevy of people on regards to sports in Atlanta on the show before. So looks like my co-host is on. So we're about to get started. So again, you got to see a little bit, behind the scenes of me just kind of prepping. Again, this is not a full show. This is kind of a winging it show tonight, literally. So we're going to see how it goes. Today has been a long day. I've been working all day. We're going to see if we get an hour of good sports talk in. So hopefully you join us. 646-652-4479 is the number. So call into the show live and or use that chat room there. And I'll mention whatever it is that you mentioned on the show live as we talk Atlanta sports. So let me get ready for the intro. Hopefully, everybody, I see one person on. Hopefully, we'll have some more. I posted on a few pages. Again, this was an impromptu show tonight, maybe an hour before I started the show. I posted it. So we'll see how many people will get to watch it live and or tune in on the radio channel. Hopefully, we'll get a few, though. Hopefully, I don't fall asleep. I almost fell asleep one time. That's terrible, isn't it? All right, let's check social media one more time. Again, IMTM Worldwide Radio is on Instagram. Oh, we're going live. Good evening, everyone. This is Chris on Around the ATL on IMTM Worldwide Radio, and decided to do a show tonight, just out of the blue. If you were following along on the YouTube channel, IMTM Worldwide Radio on YouTube, you know that I was kind of speaking on the fact that this was an impromptu show. It wasn't really scheduled, but wanted to get a show in as we have gone a whole almost 3 months, really, it seems like, right, with no sports at all. But now it seems like we might be getting back into something. So I wanted to kind of, get a chance to talk about some of the teams in the Atlanta market, what's been going on during these off seasons. Some seasons hasn't started at all. Some were almost finished. So we want to talk about that because there's been a lot of stuff in the news about certain players and teams and moves and things of that nature. So we wanted to kind of rehash some of that and talk about the recent things. And then also talk about the next few months. When will baseball start? When will the NBA get started? When will the NFL be able to start on time? Will there be fans involved at all? So got a lot to talk about. 646-652-4479. I almost forgot, and I had to dig it up. It's been a while since we've done the show. We like to try to introduce some of the social media platforms that myself and my co-hosts participate in. Those would include Falcons Nation, Dirty Bird Nation, Atlanta Bird Gang, We Are the G, the Savage Dogs of UGA, New Pack City, Atlanta Hawks Nation, Atlanta Braves Fan Group, Tomahawk Talk, Atlanta FC Fans, and the Atlanta Dream pages, all on Facebook. What's going on? Of course, you can listen to Around the ATL on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and radio.com. Found out that you can actually call out on Alexa and pull up Around the ATL. I see people listening it there. Google Play Music as well. Social media wise, you can listen to or find out about the next show of Around the ATL on Facebook and Instagram under IMTM Worldwide Radio. IMTM Worldwide Radio, and there is a Twitter page, IMTM Radio. So if you follow those pages, you'll never miss a show. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, though, IMTM Worldwide Radio on YouTube. We need more subscribers on there for sure. Have a lot of things going on, but this is not going to be the night where I usually would talk about some other projects. Instead, we're going to go ahead and bring in our co-hosts for Around the ATL. And you know what? One thing I did want to mention, the Originative brand is a company by Jamal Price. He's actually the founder of one of the groups I just mentioned, New Pack City. If you want to get your legit gear for your sports teams, make sure you hit up the Originative brand on Instagram. I have several shirts from him. He also does logo design. He actually created a movie poster and a couple other logos for me as well. So make sure you hit him up. Make sure you let him know Around the ATL sent you. That being said, let's bring in our co-host tonight. He is a newly designated writer for dogcast.com. He's a former writer for Sports Illustrated Bulldog Maven. He's also a contributor for ATL All Day via Fansided. That is, of course, Jordan Jackson. Let's go ahead and bring Jordan onto the show. Jordan, what's going on, man? Now, and thanks again for those who are watching live right now on the YouTube channel and will watch as they see the link. I know some of the sports pages on Facebook, they have a monitor who, approves posts and whatnot. So hopefully we'll get some of the Falcons pages to log in and whatnot. This is an impromptu show. So I actually do not have segments. So instead of what we usually would do, we're really going to actually just kind of roll into things. We're just going to bring up topics. We're going to just kind of throw stuff out there in the wind and see what sticks. And hopefully we'll have a few callers call in and participate. Again, this was an impromptu show. It's only going to be about an hour or so. But we wanted to kind of get back in the loop of things because it has been a while. And we do know that some sports are going to start returning sooner than later. Plus, too, I want to make sure everything still works. 646-652-4479. And actually, I guess I could do this just for the sake of doing it. All right, so I just hit up one of the pages live just now, and those who saw me doing it on the YouTube channel saw me typing it in. 646-652-4479, opening it up in regards to Atlanta Hawks talk, playing the theme song that we usually do when we talk Atlanta Hawks basketball. We know we're in a pre-off season because, of course, with the pandemic and everything getting shut down, the off season kind of came kind of quickly. But we know this is a temporary one, at least we hope so for the Atlanta Hawks, because I do want to see everybody finish the actual regular season. I would like to see Vince Carter actually finish his career. And with what potentially might happen, the Hawks might be in the field of play of, if they do this whole tournament round robin, you never know. But if they finish the season, just play out their season, you never know. They might actually just finish up strong and still make the playoffs. Y'all know how I do about the playoffs and the Hawks and everything. But we wanted to see basketball. But here's the deal: there's been a lot of talk over the last few weeks about one particular player on the Atlanta Hawks, and his name is John Collins. So I want to bring that up. And if you heard my intro, you heard me say that we had the mother of John Collins on the show before. And one of the things she mentioned in her interview was, as much as there were a lot more people who supported her and the family and John Collins being here, there was a contingent that didn't want nothing to do with John Collins. They didn't like him. They didn't know who he was. Didn't want to know who he was and all this kind of stuff. And for her, that hurt. Lately, you have so much talk, ill will talk. Oh, he don't deserve the money. He got suspended. He was hurt the other year. He don't deserve any money. We don't need to sign. We just need to give him like a couple of dollars and, see what he do again. Even though we see that he's a 20 and 10 guy and he's dominating out there and he can shoot threes and he's the most dynamic player with Trae Young, and Trae Young and John Collins have the best, camaraderie and they're in sync and everything like that. But we don't need to pay him all that money, and we don't really care about what Trae Young thinks, even though they're the most dynamic duo since John Stockton and Malone, but we could just break that up and just replace him with Bobby Portis. Yeah, that's what we're getting. And so you get that enough to where John Collins has to come out and say something, basically say, these haters, going to be my motivators and everything like that. That's exactly what happened last year with Trae Young, to where you get the moniker, keep that same energy. That came from Atlanta, people. And I'm starting the show with this because it's idiotic, it's insane, and it's stupid. Why do we keep doing this? We're going to continue the narrative that Atlanta is a bad sports town, because not only do we not care when the teams win or lose, we don't care when we do have good players either. You don't care. I've always said you got to give people at least 3 years to prove who they are. After 3 years, you pretty much know who you have as a player. Most of the time, now some people are late bloomers. Yes. But not most of the time. Most of the times after 3 years, you pretty much know where this person's ceiling is going to be. Their upper echelon career, if this continues the way they've been doing it, they're going to be really, really, really good, right? 3 years usually. Sometimes you only need a year and a half to find out if they're going to be good or bad, though, too. Sometimes players are given more rope than they probably should, right? But that shouldn't apply in John Collins' case. We all know Bud didn't really play him a whole heck of a lot his rookie year. He got hurt last year, and then this year he was suspended. However, when he was on the floor, think about what he was doing, because that's all proven. That's stats. It doesn't have to, mix words with that. So why are so many of y'all don't want the boy? 646-652-4479. We need to talk about it. Jordan, what you think? Sorry, Jordan. I'm using the word as stated. I'm on the record. Six four six six five two 4479. One of the things I've raised up is on the contention part of it in regards to getting rid of some of these. I mean, we have the best core in the NBA, and everybody else knows it except for Atlanta, is that it's not our money. Wrestler has completely turned his whole team over for the I think it's 5 years officially now that he's had the team. He's completely turned over the whole roster from what it was from, yes, we were contender. We contended in the East to the point where we made the playoffs and we had chances to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. We had opportunities, we did, but we didn't because we didn't have enough players who could take it upon themselves and say, I can put the team on my shoulder and say, look, instead of me get what I usually get, I'm gonna go over and above, and I'm gonna do that for every game so we don't get swept by the same team twice in a row. But anyway, but that didn't happen, of course. But we now have a completely new team. And we have a team that can be put together and stay together for a long time because just like Jordan said, you have an owner who has the money. Money ain't a thing. There's a song about that, ain't it? So for me, it's a matter of it's crazy to continue to be upset about something that you can't control. And as a fan, I've said this. There's only one thing that you can control is your fandom. Are you loyal to the team? Do you want to pay attention to the team? Do you want to watch the games? Do you feel your team it can win one day? Do you want them to win? Some people don't want the Hawks to win. They really don't. And his actions speak louder than words. But again, it's not your money. Why are you haggling over things that you can't do nothing about? Now, again, if it's a matter of you don't feel the player is valuable with what he does, that's kind of one thing. But John Collins has proved. I mean, Jordan just mentioned the numbers. Like, who's better than that than what John Collins has done? You see what I'm saying? So Cat didn't do that. You see what I'm saying? I mean, again, you're talking about whether or not you're trading somebody. Unless you're getting someone like an AD or the Greek Freak, literally, who else besides those two would you really be comfortable, as far as that goes? And then free agency wise, who are you paying more money than John Collins at his age doing what he's done? Who? You see what I'm saying? Nobody can never come up with a viable answer because there isn't one, because it wouldn't make no sense to say it out loud in public. But you can do it on around the ATL, 646-652-4479. But seriously, just what the dynamic of Trae Young and John Collins has been, and them on the floor, and you put them in a playoff scenario. Again, the year before, with all the crazy injuries and everything like that, at the end of that season, nobody wanted nothing to do with the Atlanta Hawks, and you could tell. If they had just played a little bit of defense, as I mentioned before, we won't get into that subject tonight, they would have made the playoffs the first year of Trae Young. Trae Young said he wanted to make the playoffs his first year. At the end of last year, he said, you know what, next year we're going to surprise some people. Again, he didn't know John was going to get suspended. We didn't know our center was going to ghost out like he did. There was a lot of stuff that we just had no idea. Those free agents that we brought in, they didn't work out. Travis admitted it. He made a mistake on that one. But he rectified that, trade deadline. There's a lot to look forward to. Y'all were at the draft party. Y'all hooting and hollered when Cam Reddish got picked at number 10. But y'all wanted to get rid of him in November, December. You wanted nothing to do with Cam Reddish. Then all of a sudden come, February, March, all of a sudden, wait a minute, Cam's pretty good. Make up your minds, folks. You got to go all the way with it. Because otherwise you're going to be in this position. Yeah, that's right, Chauncey. So anyway, we need to just as a group, and again, you forget that these players, they have ears. They can see everything that you say. There's social media. We didn't have that years ago. You saw the Last Dance documentary. Can you imagine what the fervor would have been? Dennis going to go wrestle, or Jordan going to Atlantic City, whatever it was, in these days and times. You see what I'm saying? But the families of these players also see and hear these things too. And when these players have ingrained themselves in the cities that they're in, and they really love it and they really want to be there, yet the fans, the so-called fans, are ready to run them out. Not because he played bad, but because they played good and they want to be able to get paid. That's what makes it stupid, y'all. That's where I come with that, because it makes no sense. Because guess what? People will leave. KD is not in OKC no more, is he? You got some of the best players in the league ain't with the original teams anymore, right? Meanwhile, decade plus earlier, you got people who have finished their career with the same team. Don't y'all want to see that change back? And see Trae Young finish his career as a Hawk, see John Collins, Red Mamba the game. That might not be possible, but why not? If wrestler is willing to make the money and spend the money and do what's necessary, Travis making these good decisions over a period of time, we still don't know if we got a good to great coach. We know doggone well we got good to great players. The only other thing is we haven't been healthy in a while, but those are the 5 things that usually makes your franchise very successful. When have the Hawks had 3 of those 5 ever happened in a season, right? So what I keep saying to people is, let's back the team up. Let's follow the team. Let's be, enthusiastic. Let's go and take pictures at the statue of Dominique Wilkins. Let's get in the State Farm Arena and not just go to the swag shop and get a haircut and leave. You know what I'm saying? We need to not let other fans from other teams come in there and still be wearing other people's jerseys and be at the Hawks. We got to stop the madness, y'all. and really show the fans from other cities and states and worldwide, because remember, this is international. We need to start showing that the Atlanta market is one of the best markets, because we really, truly are. But we don't look like it on TV, and we hear it from the announcers that are not Bob Rathman and Steve Holman and Dominique. What you got to say, Jordan? I know I went off a little bit, but
and on the time. Lavender? Yes. Stepping up, they're challenging other Hawks fans. Sounds like John and Trent, they're challenging fans of other.
that's a good point. Because it would be very easy, to go that extreme. One of the things I mentioned on a post and some videos is that talking about the max, and one of the other things that determines that as well is the value to an owner and general manager to say, well, who's to say who's valuable? Look at Andrew Wiggins. You really think he's worth all the money he's made in his career thus far as a number one pick? And what has he done as a number one pick? You see what I'm saying? We can go down the line of people who have made hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's like, but how? He's averaged 10 points and 8 rebounds for like a decade, and he's made this much money. How? Right? And it don't even have to be necessarily a max, quote unquote. It just needs to be, is he making $15 million a year? Why? It can't really be a why at a certain point. It's a matter of somebody decided he was worth that, and his agent negotiated it, and they paid it. Now, whether or not he lives up to that contract, it's a whole different deal. So far, with the penance that John Collins has made so far, he's done a whole heck of a lot, hasn't he? And Trae Young, in just his second season, is having one of the greatest second seasons an NBA player has ever had. But y'all gonna do the same thing when it's time for Trae to get paid too? See, that's my question. I think they are. I'm just being honest. And again, that's where it just is sometimes it's just the principle of it all, to where people look down at Atlanta fans as a whole, because everybody else in the NBA from the get-go has recognized that we have a great team coming up. We have a great young core. Dwayne Wade was one of the first OGs, so to speak, to recognize us. All the during Trey's rookie season, when it was a matter of who do you think is going to win Rookie of the Year, and a lot of the guys were like, "Oh, it's going to be Trey Young." And we're talking about some of the best players in the NBA saying we recognize Trey Young for being who he is because he just got me tonight, nutmeg, and he just dropped a 40 piece on me tonight. We couldn't stop him. It's Trey Young, right? So it's like, oh, but only in Atlanta though. And again, I go back to the original interview I had with Bob Rathman after Summer League, his rookie season. And it's like, Bob, are you surprised with the backlash of Atlanta fans towards Trey Young? And Bob Rathman was so adamant about keep your shirts on. Yes, I'm surprised, but fans, keep your shirts on. It's Summer League. These games don't matter. But you hate Trey Young. Basically, you hate the man to where he has to say, keep that same energy to Atlanta fans, not Milwaukee Bucks fans, not Miami Heat fans, not Los Angeles Lakers or New York Knicks fans. You had to talk. He's talking to people in Atlanta, and that's what was just so. It was really just sad. Really, that's all you can really say. And eventually, they're going to remember it. It's going to come up. And you had other players who wanted to come to Atlanta, did come to Atlanta, and they basically virtually run out of town because they're like, oh, we don't need that person. We don't want this person. And then when they're gone, they're like, man, he sure is doing good on that other team now. It's backwards. And you don't think that what you say and do and what you type it doesn't have an influence, and you don't think they should think about what you say. I mean, on the technical side, that's just wrong by default because fans make the games. You see what I'm saying? You think about it. LeBron James was so animate initially. He was like, man, we don't really want to play games with no fans. Like, what's the point? He said that. That's LeBron James. LeBron James. He said that. So it's like, and again, yes, with TV and everything, there's a lot of money that comes from that. But, there is revenues from guys, and gals, families paying season tickets year after year, too. There's some money in that, right? So the merch, the hats, the paraphernalia. I got a hat on right now. I got a shirt on right now representing the Atlanta Hawks. But what if that didn't exist? Do you really think it would be what it is? The NFL, for instance, if those stadiums didn't have 70,000 people each year, each game, 16 times a year, plus preseason, 18, my bad, and just you can't take away what fans mean to the sports industries. Just look at this thing that Tiger Woods and Tom Brady and them, and just that little bit right there. The fans of those particular golfers and football players watch that, right? And you had all these other people within the sports industries watching with them on social media. If it didn't matter, that event wouldn't even have happened, right? So don't take away your power as fans as far as influence goes, but also you got to be tempered with it that you don't have the money. You're not an owner. You can't control those things. But what you can control is butts in the seats. Are you watching it on TV? Are you listening to the radio? Are you watching it online? Whatever the means necessary. Are you reading it in the paper the next day if you still read papers? That's where that comes in at to say, are you supporting your team? Do you care that they win or lose? Or are you just waiting for that little ticker tape on Braun ESPN at the end of the night and be like, oh, man, they lost again. Don't know the circumstances of why they lost, and you don't even really care. It could have been a last desperate heave from, half court that lost them that game, but they were in it all the way up till then. Or if they did win it, it's like, oh, well, they won again. The other team, they rested all their players, load management, and they shouldn't have won it. Is that your attitude? Or is it the Hawks are going to win a championship soon? 646-652-4479 is the number, y'all. Y'all call in. I just hit up some more people to see what they're talking about. I put it out there. We're talking John Collins right now. Why you hate him? I actually said that on one page. Why you hate him? Call. We're gonna switch gears in a second. But John, Jordan, you got anything to follow up on that one?
I remember. And offer that contract. Like John Collins, maybe was
Well, just to add to that, Sabonis is not somebody that at the end of the day you're going to be at the end of the game where it matters the most. He's not going to be a go-to guy. He's not somebody that you have to necessarily worry about. John Collins is, and everybody knows it. You see what I'm saying? And again, they don't run no plays for him. He's just out there getting 20 and 10 every night. But what if they actually concentrated on him again? You know, Jordan alluded to it. We were at one game, they passed it to him, and they actually double teamed him. Hey, wide open shot, and they hit it. They don't do that enough because he mismatches whoever he's on most of the time, and he has the moves and the grooves to get in there and do what he needs to do, but we don't ever give him the touches like that. And it's a shame that we're not, going all out, utilizing him as probably should. But he's somebody you have to worry about when it's crunch time. He can hit his shot, but he also can get by people. And he also can get the rebound and put it back in. And he also, again, the pick and roll, of course, is classic. And guess what? They can run that to perfection. That we would have some issues with Sabonis, I believe. And all you got to do is watch some games with him in there, and you've seen that. He can be taken out of a game. You can't really take John Collins out of a game. You can't just all of a sudden negate John Collins and be like, oh, don't worry about John Collins. We got that. No, not really. No, you don't. So that dynamic right there, it should not change. And again, as far as him being offered any money, yeah, I don't foresee him turning down no money from Atlanta, but I would rather him get the max. I would rather him not worry about this coming season, play, and then the next year when he's eligible to where we can give him all the money in the world, more than anybody else can, why wouldn't he want to do that? I'm thinking his agent will speak on that and get him in the right mindset as far as that goes to be a Hawk for a long, 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 long time. 646-652-4479. I want to change gears a little bit in midstream here. Again, this was only going to be an hour show tonight, so we're kind of already past the midway point, and we're hoping that we get some Falcons fans to call in. And I saw the one of the Braves pages log in earlier and accept one of my invites for the show. So hopefully we'll get some Braves fans. We'll see if we can interject them. But let's talk some Falcons football. We know the season had not yet started with the football season, of course, because it's, we're just getting past the draft, but training camp has been affected, obviously, and it's June at this point. So you still got the month of June, you got July, but then you got August, so will things open up soon enough for what the usual time frame it would take for an NFL team to be ready to play on the field? Will that be possible? Yet to be seen. So when it comes to the Falcons, what are we talking about? Well, we know there's a lot of news out there in regards to a former Falcon. We have actually got another position player on the defensive end recently as well. So we got a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and get it out of the way. So we hear these things in regards to Mr. Devontae Freeman, former running back of the Atlanta Falcons, and as of yet, now an NFL team has signed him. And Jordan, you have to correct me. Did he turn down a contract offer from Seattle, or what was that exactly? Was that something he turned down or no? It was, okay. All right. So here's the deal. And again, remember what I said earlier about a team, owner, management, value of a player and what they think or don't think, and only they can determine it because they got the money, of course, is you want to be able to be in a position as a player always to be able to bet on yourself, but that bet doesn't always go your way. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes it could be bad management. But again, it's up to the player. When you have management and a player, or management and a talent, and I know this for a fact because I've done management in the past and currently, is that your management, all they can do is give you all the choices and options, lay it out for you, but the talent still makes that final choice. And if Devontae was given all this information and said, look, the Seattle Seahawks, they got Russell Wilson, and they got this defense back to kind of together again, and they got these weapons here, and we bring you in, but here's the money. Devontae had to look at it from certain angles. Now, if he didn't really think he was getting a fair shake as far as the money per what he's done in his career, he's that's valid that he can think like that and believe it. However, he also needs to be, and I'm sure his management said this, be like, look, you do have a little bit of an injury history. You haven't played as many games as certain other people have, and that has affected, your production over a period of time. And that's what teams are looking at. They're looking at production. They're looking at health, and so they gave him a contract offer that has stipulations in regards to that. But apparently he didn't accept it. He didn't like it. But now here it is that he still isn't signed. And apparently he's gotten to the point where now, maybe he should just, retire, I guess. But before that, there's been some, a little bit of stuff on Twitter in regards to things that he's been saying. Jordan, I don't know if you saw that or not. Did you see what he said? Or allegedly said, although I heard that he did post it, but he deleted it, though. Well, here's a quote. Here's an alleged quote. I'll give it to you real quick, Jordan. You can continue. And again, somebody's screen. You can't really get stuff off fast enough for people. They're looking. I got 10 more years in me. Kill that fake retirement ish. By the way, F y'all. Yeah. That's allegedly that's coming off his Twitter, but see, it's not there now because allegedly it was he deleted it. But again, people are quick to with the screenshots now, so it's hard to get around the downward spiral in regards to production, and you would like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but when you have a window, with the Falcons as far as Matt Ryan's going to retire here. We all know that. You got Julio. He's not getting no younger, but he's still one of the top in the league, if not the top receiver. You needed to get the running game back where it needs to be reasonable to say, get some of this pressure off of Matt where he's not having to run around for his life or whatnot because they're going to be running around trying to tackle Gurley, right? But that, unfortunately, that just wasn't going to be something that they felt that Devontae could really do pressure-wise because of what's happened the last few years. And again, when you do have a history of getting hurt, unfortunately, that catches up with you. And if you have a team that actually gives you another chance, I mean, money is money now. I mean, he wants to wait out a year and come back next year and see what running backs may be cut and, retire and things of that nature. I guess that's something that he could do. But in the league, you got what is it? It's 3.5 years. 3.5 years is your average NFL shelf life. Average. Now, of course, you got some pretty decent players that can stay in the league 10 or more years. Some of them are offensive linemen, some of them are position players, but it depends. With running backs, it's not easy to stay in the league past that fourth year, because of how the game has changed, especially in things of that nature. So exactly. We know the numbers. You have the few and far in between, AB and Gore, Gore probably running until he's 55 years old, I guess. I don't know. But but most everybody else, I mean, we saw what happened with Jamal Anderson, right? That's a home story right there. We saw what happened the year after the Super Bowl, right? That was kind of drastic, right? You saw what happened with Steven Jackson, right? It doesn't take much sometimes. You don't know when it's going to happen. Now, you got Saquon Barkley, looks like, he's benching 7,000 pounds and everything like that. Okay, cool. He looks like he might go good 10, 12 years or whatnot, but it ain't everybody though. And again, I feel for the game part of it, as far as he's in a position where he might miss out, but at the same time, he should have a realization of where he is though. You know what I'm saying? And he has to, I mean, I'm just being real. He knows Todd Gurley got to be, he knows Todd Gurley better than him, right? So, all this other, talk stuff, it's like, if I was his management, I was like, look, we can take the Seattle money. That Seattle money is pretty good for you not barely playing the last couple of years and not really doing anything the last couple of years. They actually offered you a contract. They saw something in you. They valued you, and so because he wasn't getting no offers from nobody else. So I kind of really feel for him in this particular case because he could be ready. He could be playing. He's on a contending team all of a sudden, you know. Um, so that's what's messed up about it. Well, yeah, it's really disappointing. Now, don't want to not mention it. So Deion Buchanan, he was recently signed with the Falcons. What's his what's I would let you fill in everybody because again this was an impromptu show, but I did want to mention a new addition to the team since the last time we've been on the air at least, but this was very recent. Um, he is going to be, I guess, playing linebacker, but technically he is on the safety side at a certain point. Where does he fit in? Do you speculate? Is he per depth, which of course we definitely needed from what happened last year, or is he eyeing a particular position as could he be the other linebacker that we've been looking for? Because on the technical side, we still kind of don't have one. So tell us a little bit about Deion Buchanan if you got some information on him, Jordan. Yeah, 646-652-4479 on the Falcons website. They got the 2016 game against the Packers on right now. Um, Freeman is out there doing stuff. But anyway, depth definitely is going to be a key this year on the defensive side, of course. Um, being level-headed about what we were lacking from a year ago, but also knowing that some of that was in regards to scheme, and we know the scheme is going to be different from what the second half of last year was, and change that defensive coordinator. So now it's going to be a matter of, can you plug and play enough people in the right positions for that team to be successful the whole season, 16 games against everybody who they're going to have to play against, including, of course, the NFC South. I'm confident, and I like the move because you don't like to overuse the word hybrid. However, it does mean that element of you can play a couple of different positions, and play them well enough to be valuable on your team. I just think right now with the Falcons and what's happened the last two seasons and how injuries, sometimes lack of signing certain people as far as depth, not realizing, oh, you know what, we probably should have went on and made the move, and we let this player stay too long and stuff like that. Okay, Thomas Dimitroff will have to bite the bullet on some of those, but what he's done to fix some of those things is going to be pretty good, I think, this year. On both offense and defense at the end of the day. So I keep telling people we have a window. We always will have a window because we have Matt Ryan on the team. No matter what you say, what you think, he ain't going nowhere, and he's the best Falcons quarterback ever, and he's going to be one of the top NFL quarterbacks of all time. No matter what you say and think, that's just the facts. Okay? Now, Super Bowl window wise is still open. As long as Julio is here, as long as Matt's here, we got a shot. And now you re-bolster that running game. And by the way, we've got some pretty decent guys behind Todd Gurley too now, right? You got Hayden Hurst here now as a tight end. I feel he'll fit in pretty nice. They've been working out, as you heard. I believe so too. Again, on the defensive side, you got Grady Jarrett. He's out there lifting 8,000 pounds. We saw that video the other day. But then also who they're surrounding him with, both on the line. And now, again, we see on the linebacker, and we know on the defensive backside where we are. I think we have a solid team. I think we have another contending team. And remember, at the beginning of seasons, we're always listed as a contender now with Matt Ryan at the helm, where before we were just another team. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to happen again when people are saying, man, don't overlook the Falcons. I know Tom Brady's in the division and Drew Brees is still there and everything. But if the Falcons are healthy, it's the Falcons you should be worried about. I think that this could be a year. Could is an operative word, but we're going to see. Go ahead. But look at his touchdown production. Even despite that, though, is more than what we did on the ground with all of our running backs. So just that principle alone should say something to a lot of everybody that it's going to be a better season as long as we get to play. So yeah, I go ahead real quick. Exactly. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping the show up. Excuse me. As I mentioned, this is going to be an hour show. Just kind of get back in the scheme of things a little bit as sports, begins to open up a little bit slow but sure. We want to make sure that everybody is really safe, though, at the end of the day. And that's where the leagues are, being as precautionary as possible, and we'll see what happens. But everybody else, y'all need to stay safe too. Protect yourself as possible. Please don't forget, follow us around the ATL. Follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel IMTN Worldwide Radio. Thanks for everybody who has watched live and will watch in the future. Listen to the show on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, of course, iTunes, Alexa, of course, Google Play Music, radio.com as well. Spotify, I believe I mentioned that, and Facebook and Instagram, IMTM Worldwide Radio on Facebook and Instagram, and also the Twitter page, IMTM Radio. By the way, I do have a special going on for Memorial Weekend for photographs on imtmworldwideimages.com. Check it out. Let people know. Jordan, where can people now find you in regards to your writings and other things you do as far as sports goes? Jordan. Uh-oh, did we do?
As always, stay safe, wash your hands, say your prayers, and as always,
Until next time, guys, we'll talk to you soon. This is Around the ATL. Peace.